So I got the filter all de-oiled, and as you can tell, the color is very light because the oil was like an orangish color. Let me see if I can still find some of the oil remains on here. So if you look up here how it's a little darker, that was like what color the air filter was before I de-oiled it. So for the most part, I cleaned up almost all the oil. There's a little bit left, but nothing to worry about. But for the most part, it's all taken off, and I don't have to worry about my math getting messed up. So we'll see. I'll throw this in here. It's still a little damp, but I'll throw it in here now, and then overnight it should dry up. And I'll give you my reaction and my review on if it increased performance, which it should. Hi guys, it's Justin again. I'm back. Like I said, I'd be almost every week. So today what I want to do is give you an update on my findings with the K&N air filter, and it definitely improved my acceleration. I noticed the sound has increased from the air intake. Like I can actually hear a supercharger whine, even though I'm still using the stock airbox. So I've driven on it about 500 miles, and it's definitely a noticeable smoother pull and a higher RPM. It doesn't feel like it's choking anymore like it was with my Wix air filter. That is like the best filter, amazing. So like I stick to Wix filters for like my oil filters and my air filters usually because they filter the best. But also, you know, it doesn't allow as much airflow because it's filtering so great. So today I just want to kind of take you outside and we'll do some sound clips. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it. The wind isn't too high today, but I'm gonna do some revs with the K&N air filter, and then I'm gonna take it out and switch it out with my Wix air filter that isn't the OEM one. The Wix air filter actually suffocates the engine more than the OEM one because it filters so much better. But I want you to just hear the sound difference between a paper filter and this K&N that's been de-oiled. So it's actually flowing more than an oiled K&N filter, but it's not filtering that well. So, but luckily I'm not revving my car all the time, so all those big particles aren't just coming straight through. So we're gonna go outside and do some sound clips. I do recommend, if you guys are going to stick with the stock airbox, to get the K&N drop-in if you're going to be supercharged, because the car is demanding a lot more air, and our 4th gen air filter is smaller than the 3rd gen air filter. So if you go look at the 2.5, which I actually have a 2.5 filter outside, so we'll go and take a look at that, and I'll give you some comparisons between the 2.5 filter and the 3rd gen and a 4th gen. And then also I'll show you what they changed on the actual air intake box to make the car more efficient. All right, guys, so I'm gonna take you outside right now and show you some differences. All right, guys, we're outside, and I just kind of want to give you the paper filter comparison, and then we're gonna pop the hood, and I'm gonna show you the difference in the Wix air filter. But right away, so this is a 4th gen filter, this is a 4th gen, this is a 3rd gen 2.5 filter. So right away you can see the 3rd gen 2.5 filter has more surface area because it is longer, and the width of it is the same. All right, so same width, but it's longer, so there's more surface area. And also the 3rd gen Wix filter compared to the 4th gen Wix filter, the 3rd gen filter is lower, which means there's like less resistance, more room for air. So you'll notice when I show you the K&N air filter is also a lower profile as well, which I believe helps with airflow. So like I said, Wix is one of the best filtering filters, but that also reduces the amount of air you can force into the engine. So when I have my OEM filter versus my Wix filter, I noticed that my engine response is better with this one versus the Wix because the Wix is so much better at filtering. All right, so there's a couple changes that they made for the 4th gen airbox. It's smaller, like I said, and also the intake pipe tubing is smaller and the MAF housing is smaller, and I believe they did that to keep the velocity high on the air coming in onto the NA motor, so I mean, it's the piping is going to be different on the turbo, but having the smaller piping on the NA motor is going to allow for the air to be sucked harder and keep the velocity up versus the bigger tube that they had on the 3rd gen. All right, so now what I want to do is I got the K&N filter installed in the engine now, and I want to give you a sound clip. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to switch out the least restrictive filter with the most restrictive filter so you can hear the sound difference in the supercharger whine. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now. All right, guys, now I'm going to take this K&N out and show you what it looks like compared to the OEM filter, and you're going to get the sound clip. So I'm going to compare it to the Wix filter for you guys so you can see, since I'm going to put the Wix filter in there. All right, so here's the Wix filter, and you can clearly see there's a height difference. There's a height difference in the Wix filter, just like there was in going from the 3rd gen 2.5 filter to the 4th gen filter. So there's definitely a height difference, like I was telling you guys. But overall, the surface area on this looks like it's more, but the height is higher. Obviously, I can see through the K&N versus this. So we're gonna put the Wix one in now, and we're gonna see how much lower the intake sound is. Let's pop that in. Oh, and I dropped one of my latches again, but not too worried about it. It won't make a difference. We're just gonna rev it right here, and then afterwards I'll go back and grab that latch from down there. So it's on there. So one thing to notice that I can clearly tell is that with the Wix air filter, the RPMs drop back down slower because of, I guess, the pressure, you know. So I mean, it's hard to explain, but the air is not freely flowing as well. So with the K&N, there's a faster response on and off the throttle versus the Wix, because the filter is so dense, air going in and out is slower to travel. So even on lifting off the gas, the engine tends to like rev down slower, just because the air and the bypass is not able to, you know, escape anywhere as fast as it would. So I mean, I guess that's the best way I can explain it right now. But there's definitely a notice in slower response revving up and down with the Wix versus the K&N. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and install my K&N back here because I really like how fast that revs up, even though I'm reducing the main purpose of an air filter, which is to filter.